How the Grinch Stole Christmas tells the story of a green, grouchy creature, the Grinch, who lives on the outskirts of Whoville. He despises Christmas and decides to ruin it for the cheerful Whos by stealing all their decorations, presents, and food on Christmas Eve. But what if, instead of his heart growing 3 sizes after learning about the real meaning of Christmas from those practically perfect Whos, all he really needed to get in the Christmas spirit was a $15 packet of bath salts? Welcome to Capers and Cocktails, a true crime podcast that doesn't take itself too seriously and gives you something to enjoy while you listen. The following content may be disturbing to some. Discretion is advised. If you're enjoying one of our themed cocktails, ensure you're of legal drinking age and have fun, but drink responsibly. Vandalia, Ohio is a city near Dayton known for its strategic location near the airport and at the crossroads of I-75 and I-70. Originally a village, it became a charter city in 1960. With a population today of over 15,000, Vandalia offers community events, a strong park system, and a highly rated school district. You know, a typical small town vibes. A town big enough for a Starbucks, but that's only because Starbucks is everywhere these days. In November of 2011, 44-year-old Kettering local Terry Trent was painting a home in a Vandalia neighborhood with a friend. For some unknown reason, Terry got mad and stormed off. His friend and coworker would say, quote, "He wasn't acting like his normal self. I asked him what was going on and he got mad and left the job. He is paranoid and thinks people are out to get him," end quote. Instead of doing what others might going home, he instead went into the backyard of a nearby house. He grabbed a garden hose to break into one of the back doors of this random house. After busting the glass and opening the door, he quite literally made himself at home, creating a cozy atmosphere by lighting candles on the coffee and kitchen tables. The television, he turned it on really loud, filling the room with sound. Adding a festive touch, he took a Christmas wreath and hung it on the back garage door, bringing a hint of holiday cheer to the space. Now, what do you have to have on hand when you're decorating for Christmas? Cocktails, of course. Let's make a cocktail and decorate a stranger's home, shall we? We love a twist on an old favorite, so we're making a white Christmas margarita. OGers know this original podcast used to center itself all the way around margs, so I'm glad we've got a riff on that for today's drink. Thanks to Country Living for this fun and pretty recipe. And yes, Country Living means margs. Didn't you know? Didn't you? Yeah. To make the cocktail, first rim a glass with coconut. Fun, right? And add ice to your glass. Then add half a part simple syrup, 2 parts tequila, 1 part lime juice, and 1 part cream of coconut in a shaker with ice. Shake to combine and chill, then strain into the glass. For the mocktail, replace the tequila with non-alcoholic tequila, shake her up, strain her out, and sip up, whether or not you're having your own white Christmas this holiday season. Once Terry was done decorating, he settled in to watch that blaring TV and grabbed some toys that were in the living room and started playing with them. About an hour after he'd stormed off that work site, the 11-year-old child who owned those toys came home from a Pee-wee football game to find a random stranger on his living room couch. The boy would tell his mom that Terry said he didn't mean to scare him, but the boy was obviously freaked out and called his mother, who was next door at their neighbor's house. Mom says she told her son, quote, "What do you mean a man is in our house? You don't know if he has a gun or if he has a knife?" End quote. She screamed for her neighbors and immediately called 911. Later, the mother told police that Terry attempted to be polite to the boy. She said, quote, "He said to him, 'I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. I'll get my things and go.'" End quote. Police were called, arrived, and arrested Terry, who was, clearly not in his right mind. He was arrested without incident, but police did find that he was carrying a pocket knife. The coworker at that painting job said that Terry might have been high on bath salts. Police also indicated that Terry had a history of drug charges. Okay. Now, I cannot be the only person on the planet who thought that when someone was on bath salts, that they had gotten some fancy bath salts from Walgreens and used them, but not in the bathtub, right? Am I the only one? Well, maybe apparently bath salts are not actually bath salts that are used in your self-care. The term bath salts is just a marketing tactic used to sell something called synthetic cathinones, a type of designer drug, as a legal product. These substances, which are chemically similar to cathinone, a stimulant found in the khat plant, are often sold as white or brown crystalline powder in small packets. They have no legitimate use for any household purpose, bathtub or not. They are sold for recreational use despite being labeled as bath salts and other times plant food or cleaners. Marketed as a sneaky alternative that evades drug testing, bath salts aim to replicate the euphoric effects of methamphetamine or cocaine, and at lower doses are promoted as a replacement for Ritalin to enhance focus and as an aphrodisiac. Their appeal is also boosted by their low cost. A 200 milligram pack, possibly containing 3 doses, can be purchased for as little as $15 to $20. However, they can also produce negative effects, such as paranoia, hallucinations, delusions, and violent behavior. In some cases, bath salts have been linked to severe intoxication and death. Bruce Goldberger, professor and director of toxicology at the University of Florida College of Medicine in Gainesville, Florida, says, quote, "Compared to a drug like ecstasy, bath salts are much more dangerous. We know there have been dozens of people in the last 2 years who have died from using bath salts or related compounds due to suicides, overdoses, and vehicle crashes. Others taking the drug have committed homicides," end quote. Due to their potential for abuse and harmful effects, bath salts are illegal in many countries. The exact composition of these drugs can vary wildly, making them particularly dangerous as users may not know what they are taking. Yikes. We should be glad that all Terry did was decorate for Christmas. After his arrest, Terry was indicted for burglary. Something else I learned while researching this episode is that burglary, at least in a court of law, doesn't necessarily mean that you've stolen anything or that you're attempting to steal anything. Entering or staying in a building with the intent to commit any kind of crime is third-degree felony burglary, even if no one else is there or expected to be there. The punishment can include 9 months to 3 years in prison and a fine of up to $10,000, with longer sentences possible in specific circumstances. Gosh, we're learning so much in this silly little episode. The man who was working with Terry on that paint job described him as a very caring person, involved with the Boy Scouts and a local church program to help convicted felons currently in prison. But he wasn't acting well that day, the man said, describing Terry as mentally unstable. The case against Terry would be dismissed on January 4th, 2013. Having all the evidence in front of me here, I think I'd have to agree with the judge in this case, Mary Montgomery. Thanks for hanging out with me. Man, I kind of feel sorry for Terry. I think maybe he just needed a place to chill out and calm down after his high. Yeah, of course he shouldn't have broken into somebody's house, but he didn't do anything. He lit some candles and decorated a bit for Christmas. He just needed to chill, poor guy. I certainly hope that things have gotten better for Terry and that he keeps himself out of the press forever. Remember how last week I said that everyone was more jolly during the Christmas season? Well, I guess I'd forgotten about next week's episode. Just know that not everyone is filled with the Christmas spirit, and the holidays do not bring out the best in everybody. Tell me what you think about the episodes on Facebook, would ya? I post about every episode, am not too aggressive, and want people to see my content. You commenting on posts really does help that. My Christmas present, right? Next week is a skipped upload, but I'll have a Christmas Eve episode for you before too long. I'll see you then, and remember, there are always alternatives to breaking into someone's home, but if you're going to, you might as well decorate, right?